welcome everyone. This is our mastermind group meeting today. Today is October the 18th, 2019. And with us today are Greg Nollmeyer in Michigan.
Hello.
Harry Legg in Verona, New Jersey.
Hello, hello.
Daniel Stringer in what part of Florida?
Paisley, but we always
Paisley.
say DeLand. And hello.
And Forrest of Obnomia in Columbus, Ohio. Actually outside of Columbus, but right there.
Yep, in Columbus. Hi, guys.
And Matt Holker here in Maryville, Tennessee, outside of Knoxville.
Hello.
And me, I'll try to be here as much as I can. Okay. Healing applications of Tai Chi and Tai Chi Jins is what we're going to be talking about today. And let's start with the elephant part of this, which is just going through your form does not impart much or any in the way of healing applications and the health side of the Tai Chi. Now, the exception to that would be if all you're doing is sitting on the couch all the time and you get up and start moving around doing what you think is Tai Chi, well, at least you're up off the couch moving around. So that's something, and there's value to that. Now, for anything more than that, you actually have to know some quality things about Tai Chi, and you have to know methods and applications. And so let me start by saying this, that the flow of energy through the body and the alignment in the body are all things that, in the way that your mind then can, and your breath can operate inside of you and in you, and your perception inside of you and around you. All of these things done properly lend themselves to a very healthy state, and done improperly, they lead to a very longer term unhealthy state. And so in order to have the energy to flow through you and those other things I said, and unimpeded, I like to use the analogy of a water hose. And if I've got a water hose, I'll use this to represent the water hose. And the hose is relaxed and not bent in half, not bent, but longer and kind of like my arm is now, let's just say that. Water flows through just fine. A volume of water flows through, and it's not impeded in any way, and it comes out, and you can change the way that it flows through or influence that, both the speed and the amount and the volume, and it does stay mostly contained in your body unless you're doing things to expel it or to add more. Now, if you fold the hose, then you get a kink, and then the water that was coming out the end goes down to a drip or quits coming out entirely. If you squeeze the hose, then the water quits coming out, or it slows way down again, right? Slows way down, or it quits coming out entirely. If you twist the hose, then same thing, the water quits flowing through, and or it slows down to just a trickle, or it quits coming out entirely. If the water isn't turned on, if there's not a good plug-in on the energy, so in this case the spigot's off, then no water coming out or flowing through again. If this is the end of the hose, but over here there's holes, and enough holes, the water's all coming out back here and it's leaking out and it's not flowing through this part of the hose, right? And if that goes on long enough, then there's atrophy and problem that happens, like this part of the hose eventually, an old hose gets brittle and where it isn't functionally good anymore. Like I'm thinking like it becomes almost plastic, like hard plastic like, and breaks really easily, right? And the water's leaking out and doesn't make it through there to keep it fresh and pliable and working. So there are a lot of ways to have errors in the hose or problems in the hose, where then the energy flow and the alignment flow and the mind even getting through there and the breath getting through there and the circulation getting through there has problems. The better hose we have with good pung, Think about that as expansive and out and around, like when the water flows through the hose, it expands and it's expansive, right? And round and open, then the better energy flow and health we get. And I'll let you guys add anything you want to add in from there, and then I'm gonna give you some examples of these things. Some of the ways that you get with the jings, how you get some of the health effects from those jings, or at least what the relationship is to some in a very superficial way, obviously, because we're talking it, but try to give some. I'll try to convey some understanding towards that end. Anyways, anything you guys want to add or say at this point?
Just say that I found that running different jings breaks up different patterns. So it's not just enough to say, hey, I'm going to run more energy and that's going to make it better. One, I may not have a sense of how much I'm running unless I'm trying to shape it and do something with it. And then two, if I'm running wave versus spiral versus root or whatever, they all have a different feel and help me break up or sponsor different characteristics. Even just working with myself, not necessarily martially, but obviously martially too.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, my thought about the spiraling when you were talking about the if it's twisting, that can create a health problem.
If it's too twisted, too tensed, right? Tensed.
Right. So does that mean somebody could over spiral, and like if they were like, I'm going to do spirals for the martial and keep pushing it, they could actually do themselves harm?
The trick here is, what is the physical vessel doing? So initially for a spiral, I may physically do that, but there's a point here where I start getting tensions in places that are locked off, and now I don't have flow through in there. And the same thing the other way, there's places now that are locked off and I don't have flow through, and so that's going to be harmful to you long term. And so it's, how do I get the spiral and really have it be very full and very complete, and then eventually tighter spirals. And I don't mean tighter like tense, I mean the difference between a spiral that's this way and a spiral that's this way, and not introduce. So how do I get that closer spiral like that and not have a bunch of tension introduced because of it? Because if I have the tension, then I've kinked the hose, and so I have to run the energies while keeping that hose in the state that we talked about. And so if I've got a hose and I can get the energy, the water coming down that hose to really spiral, but the hose stays actually in the good basic hose shape, right? And we've been joined by Jim Kelly and Boca Raton.
Hey. Sorry, guys.
Peace, love, and Democ. Okay. So we're in the middle of, Jim, of talking about health and healing with the Tai Chi and the Tai Chi form, and that to get that health, the body really has to be in a very nice, unimpeded state, not folded up, not overly squeezed, not twisted, and that there has to be good source energy and plugged into source energy, and how you're doing that. And no holes in your hose, places like if I did this, then more my elbow is overly sharply bent, that becomes a place where the energy is coming out there, but it's not making it to my hand, but you need it to be very rounded, and these kind of things. And so to really do Jing, what you're really looking for is to do that Jin all kinds of ways, like in a spiral, really tight and small. By tight, I mean small at the moment. Really fast, really big, and all sorts of other things, and yet keep the good hose, the good shape, and the good softness throughout, so that the water will continue to flow through, or in this case, the energy will continue to flow through really well. So that as I work the Jing, you really want to be aware of, am I cutting off the energy, or am I making other kinds of basic errors before I get into the more advanced aspects of, hey, I'm running this, I'm doing, practicing, performing this Jin. Right?
Okay.
So examples of body energy for health, softness. The softness that the real floaty soft thing that you see people in the mornings doing out in the park with a group, and it's got that soft floating Tai Chi, that right? That's good, and that's the most common one that people have seen. And if they're doing that, and a lot of people are able to mimic that without knowing a lot more about what they're doing, but are they feeling the energy flow of doing that? That's really the question. If they are, then there's some health benefit to that on the body side as well. But even then, just the idea of relaxing, releasing, letting go, and being soft is really good for helping to reduce mental stress, for like calm mind stuff, right? If you have somebody who is hyper, a bit stressed, these kind of things, rooting can have a calming effect and be used to help to settle everything down and to calm down and to kind of bring their head out of the clouds if they're a bit spacey, this kind of thing. By the way, the softness where it's that float, if somebody's got like fatigue or I don't mean fatigue like they need some sleep. I'm talking about like they've had sleep and they're still, they're on the daily basis kind of fatigued and they need more energy, movement, and those kind of things, then the float can help to do that. And also if they're too mired in deep thoughts that they can't get away from, then they may need that softness to help to alleviate some of that mental tension, that kind of thing. All right. Dissolving for not getting sick, not letting things stick to you, letting them go, right? And not holding tension. And if any of you want to add anything on any of these, go ahead. Did we lose Harry somewhere in this process?
Harry's still here.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Hello.
Cool. All right. You had something you wanted to say about
very
that
many
one?
of us on the call for a change.
Yeah. You had something you wanted to say about the dissolving?
Well, you had talked about the way you like to use it with your family, and especially with kids. They'll come home from school, and they may be sick, and you can use that dissolving skill and quality you have so that whatever bug they have doesn't really fully get you like it does them.
Yep.
Now, there's real use of that dissolving skill from a health application that I'm willing to bet most practitioners haven't really thought about or aren't doing or haven't practiced that skill to the ability to be able to do that. And I thought that was worth pointing out.
Yep. Cool. So you're saying go to the TaiChiRoadmap.com. Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Yeah, in a nutshell, I don't think that's my mic doing that, but it's TaiChiRoadmap.com. Yeah.
Okay, and that'll give you more insight into some of this, particularly where the Jings are concerned and how they fit in and that kind of thing.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
The internal power that comes at the higher levels of Tai Chi can seem mysterious, but that is mostly because Tai Chi students don't see the big picture yet. They don't even understand what the higher levels of the art are, much less have a plan to get there. Even though the senior masters mostly agree on what the steps are, they mostly don't talk about it. On the TaiChiRoadmap.com, I outline all of the steps of Tai Chi development. Everything is explained so you know what to do, when to do it, and why. This is the complete roadmap to Tai Chi mastery with an explanation of all the steps from rank beginner to senior master. Again, that is a free course that you can access online. Go to TaiChiRoadmap.com to sign up. That's TaiChiRoadmap.com.
Well, yeah, and the reason I pointed out is that there's a lot of people who, with especially on the health side of Tai Chi, who have this idea that just the Li level is enough. That's where the health benefits really are, and that's what Tai Chi is really is. And they kind of promote that, and you tend to get that out of the health and healing crowd a little bit more than even the fighting crowd, although there is some on that side too. And so I think it's important to understand not just kind of what Jings are and that they are a thing, but like really what the progression of Tai Chi is and how deep into it you really kind of want to get the real legendary benefits of Tai Chi, and that it's so much more than just doing the form. It is so much more.
Yep.
And if you don't have the roadmap to Tai Chi mastery, if you haven't seen that video, that puts all of this into perspective in a way that I think will help make a lot more sense of what we're kind of talking about here.
Cool. Yep, if you guys can, and when you see it's appropriate and people are putting stuff where you can tell that they don't want, we're trying to put stuff where we can put links like that. Of course, then you get people complaining about the links, but so at times, but it's like, that's the answer to the question, and it's not a 2-minute answer. It's a, it involves some real education, and I'm offering this to you for free. So, avail yourself of it and learn something. That's, anyways. All right. So, structure to build bone density and muscle mass. So actually using proper structure and alignment and syncing, rooting, to help build bone density and muscle mass, and also the proper structure and upward and downward connections to build better, to get slight stretch, proper stretch. There's lots of bad stretch, but a little bit of the right kind of stretch. Get the right kind of stretch for better spinal health and that kind of thing. And the way that through your alignments that the spine is open in this good way. Where your mind is for one of the things for health is where your mind is. Actually, the E level work for where your mind is at in terms of releasing and fortifying or bypassing, going around and in cases of, I'll talk about clearing out blockages in a minute, but bypassing problem areas. Like if your knees are bad, then ways to move and have your mind in your body and in your form, and then slight differences in postural adjustment so that you're not having that problem, right? Spiraling, recoiling, and waving are all good Jing energies to help you to be able to do this really well. Let's see, if you're trying to get your way through blockages, there's dissolving the blockage can do that. So that's a dissolving skill. Sometimes you can use Fajin as you get kind of clutter or junk in there and use it to release or move out the blockages from inside of you. This kind of a thing, again, appropriate to what the issue is. It would depend on which thing or things you would do, right? Also, how to remove impacts received in the body, and the Fajin is helpful for that. First, you need the E skills, the mind intent, E skills to aim, so that you can figure out from where it went in and how it went in, how it needs to come back out. This is like shock and impact into the body. That's actually still trauma in the tissue itself, because the fist is no longer there. The fist is gone, but yet there's trauma left behind. And that's your tissues that are holding on to that generally, or that have been affected by that, and then how to undo it. The spiraling or waving in, when something's locked into the body tissues, to help to reverse that back out. And then Fajin to help actually get it to move, and because it explosively or however it went in, and so that reverse of that procedure is helping to get that damage. That the tissues, what happens if the tissues were softened like this, something happens and then they stay like that and they're going, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Yeah, okay, and release that, and now you're back to where you should be. It doesn't mean you're not feeling it for a little bit, but I've had people do stuff like, I had a guy that fell down a flight of steps, came in all kinds of contorted and in pain and everything else. About 20 minutes to half an hour of reversing out where he had taken the hits and the ways the hits came in, and in some cases coaxing them out, in some cases banging them out. I tend to call it the bang method because you'll see it where the impact went in and you bang it back out. And about 20 minutes to half an hour later, he had to kind of sit for a minute, and then he got up. What happened? Because he was in all this pain and kind of jacked up, and it was gone. And so it's very, very doable, like that. The opening and closing, expanding and contracting for better lymph system and immune system fluids released into our body. And then this has a lot of health effects, both on your own immune system side and on your body's ability to defend itself and that kind of thing, and then how quickly and well it can do that.
I have a quick story on that. I was
Yeah.
with you actually, and we were going to the Tai Chi Gala or whatever the event was, and in the hotel rooms where they have those window air conditioner things that blow right over your bed, and it gave me the most ridiculous sinus headache, and I was a mess. And we're driving in the car, and he said, "Hey, use your contracting and expanding skill. Contract it all right where you feel it, and then let it expand out." And I opened up right there on the spot while I was driving. It was amazing. I'm like, why hadn't I thought of that? What a cool usage of that training. So it's things like that are amazing. Thank you.
Cool.
We just went over a couple of nights ago the Fajing, the breathing in and capturing pain and releasing it through the breath. And I had a couple of students come up after the preceding classes, and they were like, "Oh, that worked. I had a pain in my shoulder, a pain in my neck, and it really went over well. It's an excellent exercise. Thank you for that."
I've got the last one I kind of put on here was then for arthritis in the body, electrical jing, where you're running the electrical jing itself in and through and around the body, and basically it's in our basic skills or level 1 Tai Chi program, how to do this simply and easily, and that's really, really good for arthritis, and it heats up the synovial fluid in the body and then lubricates all the joints and that kind of thing. Anyways, and so I had written down these examples. There are plenty more and other uses for other jings. I just covered 8 or 9 of them here in a simple way. But wanted to let you know that all of that can be done for health. You can see real world effects in real time pretty well. And of course, we've got the Fa Gong where we're learning how to use the Ting Jing, the sensitivity to feel what's going on in the body and then to manipulate that. And we've got the next course coming up here, November the
14th or 15th.
15, 16, and 17. And then we do one usually the weekend before Thanksgiving. This one is 2 weeks before. And then the last weekend in April, as long as it's not Easter, like that. And so that's also teaching you a lot about this for the healing side of things. So
that it didn't occur to me until we started talking about it in this way, but I'm reminded of the couple of people that we've had who have come in with Demok strikes. So
Demok strikes are where somebody that knows their pressure points or the internal system somehow, and they have hit someone, put that energy across or hit the right points on the body, like think acupuncture, but the evil version, in order to cause them harm. And now energetically in their body, they have been pressure point striked or democked, which is the bad kind of juju. Anyway, bad energy in them, and they've got this now locked into their body, and so they've been democked. Okay.
Yeah, well, and those injuries and other types of injuries like that, like the fellow that you were talking about falling down the flight of stairs and the things like that, where things get locked into the body, to heal like that, it's not just that the jings are useful, it's that level of skill is necessary. You need the e-skill and the sensitivity to understand what happened and the control of the energy to remove it, both things. And so that jing level of skill, the controlling and manipulating the energy being the definition of that, is just critical for that level of healing. There's no way around it. No matter which jing you're using, you have to have that level of skill to do it. And it didn't really sort of occur to me until we started talking about it in this way, that why the healing, why the advanced stages of the Tai Chi really correlate to advanced stages of healing in that same way.
Yep.
It makes sense now, but I hadn't kind of put 2 and 2 together until you put it that way.
As you look at it as Shin and then Wu Wei, that kind of thing too, at those top ends, and how the healing aspects come through that. And it's yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Sibu.
You're welcome. And I mean, the more advanced, the higher up the food, the higher the level and understanding and the skill truly at that level, then the higher level, not just of martial, but also and internal skills and power, but also then the higher level healing you're able to get out of the situation as well. So, yep. Cool. Well, that's kind of what I had written down here. Anybody with any other questions or anything?
Just
or
speaking.
Something to add, or what's that?
No, just speaking from personal experience. I mean, I went through, just the forums and the Lee part of it for 15 years, and just for what I feel is personal growth since getting more into the energy work and the Fagong seminar, and I mean, I feel a lot better than I did 20, 30 years ago, and
Cool.
And I know a couple of you know what happened with Denise, and she fell and broke a bone in her hip, and I mean her recovery was amazing. So she's just a lot of it was the qigong and the energy work, and really helped out that aspect of it too. So thank you very much for that gift.
Cool. Oh yeah. All right, guys. Hopefully this has been helpful this week. And if you've got any questions, put them down in the body of the thread below. And if there's anything that you'd like to see us talk about more in depth, and I don't mean so much like pick one of the little bitty health topics and go, hey, do a whole program on that. But if there's something you'd like to see or know more about that we can be talking about here, please post it. We'll try to accommodate as best we can. And thanks for watching and listening, and we'll do more next time. And thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
Great weekend.
Be well.
See you guys.
All right.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
In the year 2020, right now, boosting immunity is on everyone's mind. Many scientific studies show that Tai Chi boosts immunity and helps prevent infection from viruses. On TaiChiForImmunity.com, I created a course that teaches the internal principles to make it work. This is the complete what, why, and how to turn your favorite Tai Chi form into an immune-boosting powerhouse. It also includes practices to help ease symptoms for the rare times when you do get sick. Tai Chi can help you live a longer and healthier life, and you don't need a special form to do it. The immune-boosting benefits of Tai Chi come from the correct expression and utilization of internal power. In Tai Chi for boosting the immune system, I teach you everything you need to know to get the benefits for yourself. Again, that course is available on TaiChiForImmunity.com. That's TaiChiForImmunity.com.